Do you want to understand how Lewis Capaldi sings the way he does? In his most popular song, Someone You Loved, he uses a lot of different techniques, and in this video we're gonna discuss each of them.
It's good to now be a global phenomenon. That's what I am.
Oh, I consider of great importance to demonstrate with my own voice the techniques I analyze here, showing that it's possible to achieve sounds that are really close from those we hear from the singers we admire by using the same physiological adjustments. After all, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change and not the world. This song is the very first one of my vocal analysis series. Here, I'll learn and cover some songs using the same techniques the original singer does. Then, I'll come with the vocal analysis, so you can learn it too. Oh, didn't see my Someone You Loved covered yet? Check the link in the descriptions. There you can see all these techniques we're talking about in real practice. First of all, it's important to mention that in live performances, Lewis often sings the song in a lower key and sometimes he doesn't do the distortions. So, the version I'm using here as reference to analyze is the original studio version. We will start by the simple and compound vocal schemes, and then we're going into the overlapped vocal schemes, such as the effects and the distortions. Lewis starts with a characteristic vocal scheme, the crooner voice. In crooner voice, vocal folds are in active tension, so the vocal folds are themselves contracting and resisting against the air pressure. Lewis sings most of the time with active vocal folds. Remember this, cause we're gonna come back later talking about effects.
I'm going on during this time, I feel there's no one to save me. It's all or nothing really got away, you're driving me crazy.
Lewis' crooner voices come along with other of his characteristic techniques, the soft palate horn voices. Horn voices are techniques made of different configurations in the vocal tract aiming to modify the sound by highlighting different harmonics according to which structure is being horned. In this case, Lewis raises his soft palate in a vertical shape, what results in this characteristic sound.
Going under in this time.
Some vocal teachers relates Lewis' horn voices with his Scottish accent. And yeah, his accent can foment the occurrence of the horn voice, but it's not determinative. Lewis can even choose to apply another horn voice, even lowering the palate, and sometimes he does it. Another vocal scheme used by Lewis is the Gregorian voice. In Gregorian voice, vocal folds are in passive tension, so they are not closing and resisting against the air by will. They are getting closed by the air pressure that is taking them to the center in what we call coanda effect. This results in a softer sound. Lewis switches between crooner voice and Gregorian voice.
Somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have. I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have.
In the higher parts, but still with vocal folds in active tension, Lewis uses another technique, the warm voice. Warm voice comes with relevant differences comparing with crooner. That's because singing in high notes with active vocal folds requires a higher level of firmness and also a greater eccentric contraction of the vocal folds. That results in high notes but still powerful.
Back around, for now the day bleeds into nightfall. For now the day bleeds into nightfall.
Concerning the effects, Lewis uses a lot of vocal runs. But in the case of this song, the vocal runs are not too much complicated. The vocal runs here are simple, with 2 or 3 notes, like this. Rock. Remember we talked about Lewis singing most of the time with active vocal folds? Well, sometimes he turns it off quickly, in the beginning or in the end of some phrases, what corresponds to a sudden change between an active scheme and a passive scheme. This characterizes the yodeling.
Somebody to hold, somebody to hold. Will you help me escape? People.
Now guys, time has finally come to talk about distortions. Lewis uses 3 of them in the song. The first one is creaky voice. Creaky is a sound that happens when the vocal folds are kind of relaxed and happens with low pressure levels only. He does it in the beginning of some phrases when he's aiming to an active sound, but starts in a more relaxed way. Then happens the crackling.
I'm going under. I'm going under. I need somebody to know. There's all or nothing way of loving.
Sometimes Lewis raises the pressure, maintaining a certain level of crackling in the sound, but adding a certain level of wheezing that characterizes the phaser voice.
Somebody to hold. Somebody to hold.
Finally guys, the tougher distortion of the song that happens in the choruses and in the bridge is the snarling phaser voice. In this distortion, the relation between crackling and wheezing still exists, but with crackling predominance due to the greater mass mobilization in the vocal folds and also a greater action of the lateral cricoretinoid muscles.
To get me through it all. To get me through it all. And I tend to close my eyes when it hurts. Oh, I'm safe in a soul till I come back to love.
Looking for singing classes? Send me a message on Instagram and leave suggestions for next analysis here in the comments. If you enjoyed, don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to the channel to be notified when I upload new videos. Oh, just before you go, I'm not sure if I told you, but if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change and not the world.